You have been taught to pray for salvation. You have been taught to pray for forgiveness, but no one ever taught you the prayer for wealth. Joseph Murphy discovered that hidden within the most beloved psalm in the entire Bible lies a specific instruction for financial freedom. Most people recite Psalm 23 at funerals and moments of despair, but they miss the prosperity code embedded in every line. Today, we decode the prayer that was kept from you. The prayer that Joseph Murphy called the master key to the treasure house of infinity. Why does wealth feel distant while struggle feels familiar? Because you were trained to separate God from gold. You were conditioned to believe that spirituality and money cannot coexist. Joseph Murphy spent 50 years proving that belief was the greatest lie ever sold to humanity. The Bible does not teach poverty, it teaches prosperity through correct mental states. This is not theory, this is law. Most people pray from a position of lack. They beg, they plead, they repeat empty words, hoping something external will change. Joseph Murphy called this the prayer of desperation, and he warned it only reinforces poverty. When you pray while feeling poor, you impress poverty into your subconscious mind. The subconscious does not judge, it accepts. It creates conditions that match your dominant feeling. The traditional religious teaching told you that wealth is sinful, that money corrupts, that the rich cannot enter heaven. Generations of seekers absorbed this vow of poverty into their mental foundation. They believed struggling was holy. Joseph Murphy studied the original scriptures in Hebrew, Greek, and Aramaic, and discovered these interpretations were distortions. The Bible never condemned wealth. It condemned the worship of wealth above divine principle. William James, the father of American psychology, wrote in The Varieties of Religious Experience that religious experience produces tangible transformation in the material world. He documented hundreds of cases where shifts in consciousness resulted in sudden prosperity, restored health, and renewed relationships. James understood what Joseph Murphy later proved through metaphysical science. Your inner conviction shapes your outer conditions. The block is not outside you. The block is the mental image you hold. If you see yourself as unworthy, as separate from abundance, as destined to struggle, then struggle becomes your destiny. Joseph Murphy taught that your subconscious mind is the connecting link between your thoughts and universal substance. Everything in the physical world originated as thought. Money is no exception. Wealth begins as a mental acceptance of prosperity as your divine right. You were never taught to claim wealth scientifically. You were taught to hope. Hope without mental conviction is powerless. Faith, as defined in Scripture, is the substance of things hoped for. Substance means it already exists in consciousness. Joseph Murphy emphasized this distinction relentlessly. You do not create wealth, you accept it. The infinite already contains all riches. Your job is to become a mental match for what already is. The reason you have not received financial freedom is simple. You have not mentally accepted it as true. Every time you think about money, doubt follows. Every affirmation you speak is contradicted by your habitual inner dialogue. Joseph Murphy called this the divided mind, and he warned it produces nothing. You must choose. Either you believe in lack or you believe in infinite supply. There is no middle ground. Joseph Murphy told the story of a man who came to him drowning in debt. The man worked 80 hours a week, but never escaped financial pressure. Murphy asked him one question. "What do you think about money?" The man answered immediately. "Money is hard to get. Money requires sacrifice. Rich people are greedy." Murphy smiled and said, "Now you know why you are broke." He instructed the man to completely reverse his mental diet. Every morning and every night, the man would saturate his mind with one single truth. Infinite intelligence is the source of my supply, and infinite supply flows to me freely now. For 30 days, the man refused to speak about bills, problems, or lack. He redirected every fearful thought toward the image of financial freedom. Within 3 weeks, an old business contact reached out with a lucrative partnership offer. Within 2 months, the debt was cleared. Within 6 months, the man had more money than he earned in the previous 5 years combined. This was not luck. This was law. Joseph Murphy's greatest teaching is that your subconscious mind is one with infinite intelligence. When you impress a desire into your subconscious with feeling and conviction, the infinite orchestrates circumstances, people, and opportunities to bring that desire into form. Your job is not to figure out how it will happen. Your job is to accept that it already is happening in the unseen realm of mind. He often quoted the Bible, "According to your faith, be it unto you." Faith is not blind belief. Faith is mental acceptance. When you accept something as true in your mind, you set causation into motion. Your thoughts are causes. Your life conditions are effects. If you want different effects, you must plant different causes. The prayer Joseph Murphy decoded from Psalm 23 is not a request. It is a declaration of truth. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. This is not begging God for provision. This is recognizing that infinite supply is your nature. You are never separate from the source. Want is impossible when you know your unity with all that is. Murphy taught that the phrase, "He maketh me to lie down in green pastures," refers to the state of mental rest. Green pastures symbolize abundance, fertility, and nourishment. When you rest in the consciousness of wealth, when you mentally dwell in abundance, you attract abundance. The still waters represent peace of mind. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. This is the law of mental equivalence. What you hold in mind follows you into manifestation. The law Joseph Murphy revealed is absolute. Consciousness is cause. Your habitual state of consciousness determines your experience. If you constantly think about debt, you create more debt. If you dwell on illness, you perpetuate illness. If you live in the feeling of wealth, wealth becomes your reality. Scientific prayer is not repetition of empty words. It is the deliberate impressing of a desired state into the subconscious mind. Joseph Murphy gave a specific formula. First, define your desire clearly. Do you want $10,000? A new home? Financial independence? Be specific. Second, enter a relaxed, drowsy state. This is when the subconscious is most receptive. Third, imagine the desire fulfilled. Do not imagine the process. Imagine the end result. Feel the relief. Feel the freedom. Feel the gratitude. Repeat this mental practice every night before sleep and every morning upon waking. These are the 2 gateways to the subconscious. In these moments, the conscious mind is quiet and the subconscious accepts suggestion without resistance. Joseph Murphy emphasized that the subconscious does not argue, it does not question, it simply creates conditions that match your dominant mental state. Neville Goddard, a close contemporary and friend of Joseph Murphy, taught the same principle with different language. Neville said, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Do not wait for circumstances to feel wealthy. Feel wealthy now. Live in the end." Your imagination is the creative power of the universe. When you imagine something vividly and persistently, you activate the invisible forces that arrange reality to conform to your mental picture. Both men agreed on one essential truth: feeling is the secret. You can affirm wealth 1,000 times, but if you do not feel wealthy, nothing changes. The subconscious responds to emotion. It responds to conviction. When you combine a clear mental image with the corresponding feeling, you set the law in motion. Sigmund Freud discovered that the subconscious mind governs most of human behavior. He called it the unconscious, but the principle remains the same. The vast majority of your actions, reactions, and results stem from programming, buried beneath conscious awareness. Joseph Murphy took Freud's discovery and applied it spiritually. He taught that you can reprogram the subconscious through repetition, visualization, and emotional intensity. The remedy for financial lack is simple, but not easy. You must saturate your subconscious with the consciousness of wealth. You must refuse to give mental energy to fear, doubt, and limitation. Every time a negative thought arises, you must immediately replace it with its opposite. Joseph Murphy called this mental house cleaning. You cannot build a mansion of prosperity on a foundation of poverty thoughts. How does this apply to your life today? You live in a world obsessed with action. Hustle culture tells you to work harder, sleep less, sacrifice more. But Joseph Murphy taught that right thinking is infinitely more powerful than frantic doing. A single shift in consciousness can accomplish in days what years of struggle could not produce. Consider your current financial situation. If you are in debt, do not mentally rehearse the debt. Do not speak about it constantly. Do not let it dominate your inner dialogue. Instead, begin to live in the mental state of financial freedom. See your bank account growing. Feel the relief of having more than enough. Imagine making decisions from abundance rather than scarcity. This is not denial. This is deliberate mental discipline. William James documented that individuals who experienced religious conversion often reported sudden transformation in every area of life. Financial problems resolved, health issues disappeared, relationships healed. What Joseph Murphy understood is that these conversions were shifts in dominant consciousness. When a person moves from fear-based thinking to faith-based thinking, everything changes because consciousness is causative. The three-step morning routine Joseph Murphy recommended is devastatingly simple. First, before you check your phone or engage with the world, sit quietly and declare your truth. Speak aloud. I am a child of infinite riches. Abundance flows to me easily and continuously. Money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways. Second, close your eyes and imagine your ideal financial reality. Do not focus on bills or problems. Focus only on the fulfilled desire. Third, give thanks. Gratitude is the highest vibration. When you thank infinite intelligence for wealth before it manifests, you align with the creative power. Do this for 21 consecutive days without deviation. Joseph Murphy insisted that 21 days is the minimum time required to reprogram a subconscious pattern. Most people quit after 3 days because they see no immediate change. This is where faith becomes essential. The subconscious is working even when the physical senses perceive nothing. You must also remove the vow of poverty from your mental system. Examine your beliefs about money. Do you believe rich people are bad? Do you think wealth requires unethical behavior? Do you feel guilty wanting financial abundance? These are all subconscious blocks installed by religious conditioning or cultural programming. Joseph Murphy taught that wealth is spiritual. Money is a symbol of exchange. It is neither good nor evil. It is consciousness made visible. Neville Goddard contributed a critical insight to this teaching. He said that if you want something, you must first become it in imagination. If you want wealth, you must walk as a wealthy person walks. You must think as a wealthy person thinks. You must feel as a wealthy person feels, not someday, now. The outer world is a mirror of inner states. When you change within, the without must conform. The metaphysical resolution is this: you are not separate from infinite supply. You never have been. Lack is an illusion created by false belief. The universe is not withholding anything from you. You are withholding yourself from the universe through limitation consciousness. Joseph Murphy spent his entire life proving one truth: change your mind, change your life. Wealth, health, love, and success are not rewards for good behavior. They are natural expressions of right thinking. The prayer you were never taught is not a memorized verse. It is a mental state. It is the inner knowing that you already possess everything you desire in consciousness. When Jesus said, "Whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours," He was teaching Joseph Murphy's law 2,000 years early. Belief is not hope. Belief is acceptance. When you truly believe, you stop struggling. You rest in the certainty of fulfillment. This teaching is not for passive dreamers. It requires mental discipline. It requires that you guard your thoughts like a trained soldier. Every thought is a seed. Every word is an instruction to your subconscious. Joseph Murphy warned that careless thinking produces careless results. If you want deliberate prosperity, you must engage in deliberate thought. The conclusion is undeniable. You have the power. You have always had the power. The infinite intelligence that created galaxies and governs electrons lives within you as your consciousness. When you align your mind with divine principle, when you claim your desires as already accomplished in the invisible, you activate forces that rearrange the material world. This is not magic. This is metaphysical law. If you are ready to join a community of individuals who are applying these principles and transforming their lives, subscribe to this channel now. We are building a collective of modern manifestors who refuse to accept limitation. Every week we decode another forgotten spiritual law that will accelerate your journey to wealth, love, and freedom. Joseph Murphy once said, "You are the king or queen of your conceptual realm. Change your conception of yourself, and you change your world." Do not let another day pass in the prison of old beliefs. Step into your mental birthright. Claim your prosperity. Accept your abundance. The treasure house of infinity is open now. It is done.